Hello, everyone. Welcome back to Seaweed Brain, a Percy Jackson podcast. Today, we are wrapping up, actually, The Wrath of the Triple Goddess. We have 3 final chapters. We have Hecate. We have many epiphanies and reflections. Stick around.
Ryan Reynolds here from Mint Mobile. I don't know if you knew this, but anyone can get the same premium wireless for $15 a month plan that I've been enjoying. It's not just for celebrities, so do like I did and have one of your assistants switch you to Mint Mobile today. I'm told it's super easy to do at mintmobile.com/switch.
Upfront payment of $45 for 3-month plan, equivalent to $15 per month required. Intro rate first 3 months only, then full price plan options available. Taxes and fees extra. See full terms at mintmobile.com.
Welcome back, Seaweed Brain. Listeners, I cannot believe we are finally finishing The Wrath of the Triple Goddess, this fall-centric Halloween pumpkin spice novel, on what today is January 24th. It's been a beautiful time extending spooky season with you all. Thank you for joining us in this extended holiday. We are joined to finish the book today by our lovely friend Robert from the Damn Mean page. And before we finish this book and have reflection time, thoughts, feelings, intentions, goals, we want to talk to Robert about the sick project that they are working on right now within the Percy Jackson sphere. Tell us what you've been up to this week and before that, Robert.
So the Damien page has moved on to big old YouTube land. Currently, this thing I'm working on is Percy Jackson 1 year later, which is just a reflection of the show 1 year later. The thing that I'm long-term working on to be released June 28th of this year is a 20th anniversary special video essay in celebration of The Lightning Thief, which came out June 28th, 2005. So to really work on the project and show my love, I am going to all the locations in the book. I just came back last week from St. Louis in front of the Gateway Arch. That was a fun video to record. I'm going to all the places, the Empire State Building, Santa Monica Pier, a random woods in the middle of New Jersey, Denver, Colorado. I don't know if I'm going to try and record outside of the abandoned amusement park. I'd have to contact so many people from a legal standpoint because private property, you do not want to trespass on private property. That's a bad thing.
You don't want to film yourself trespassing on private property either.
Exactly.
I many times walked by that weird water park that's in the middle of downtown Denver. It's easy to get to. It's not abandoned though.
Oh, I thought it was abandoned, or that it's very not in use anymore.
Yeah,
Either way.
I also think they moved it around many times. I don't know. I'm not a Denver expert. Denver experts reach out and tell Robert what to do.
Yes.
Legally.
Yeah, yes. It was such a hassle, especially for the St. Louis Arch people, for the Gateway Arch people, emailing them being like, hey, I can record in front of the Arch, right? And no one giving me a straight answer, and people trying to be like, are you a big time YouTube person? Can we charge you $1 million or whatever? No, I'm not. And then I eventually Googled around and I'm like, oh, it's a public park. I can record. They also aren't enforcing, at least in St. Louis, in Missouri, they're not enforcing fees on recording on public parks. So I was going to be good.
We're very proud of you, Robert, because I am a consumer of video essays and I simply could never make them. And so thank you for putting in the time and effort and energy into doing that.
Moving on to the big time.
Thank you for providing the internet with video content, Robert. We're very excited to continue to follow along your journey. Also, you're taking the train everywhere.
Oh yeah,
right?
I took the Amtrak to St. Louis. That was the whole experience. They get the whole 9 yards. I unfortunately will not be taking the Amtrak to Denver, Colorado, because from New Jersey, it's kind of difficult. I don't know if it was different in 2005, but in 2025, there's no real good path to go from New Jersey to Colorado.
No, that sounds like a several day long Greyhound to me. Have you ever read the book Whirligig, Robert?
I have not, but I do want more books for my 2025 reading list.
Whirligig is one of those books that I read as a child. Carter, you had to read this too, right?
It was required reading, and when we were in 8th grade.
One of those books that really centers around public transportation that I think of frequently, that was very romantic to me as a child growing up on an island where you couldn't go that far.
I'm not going to really go to bat for Whirligig like that.
Yeah, I don't think it's incredible, but is it your YouTube, the Damn Meme page?
Yes, YouTube channel is the same name as everything else. It's the Damien page. Currently, at the time of recording, I have 6 episodes of Percy Jackson 1 Year Later up and a video talking about the lack of Percy Jackson merch. I think at some point, for some reason, because my white whale is the soup from Ratatouille, I want to make the soup from Ratatouille, spill half of it, and see if I actually can fix it by putting in a bunch of tap water, wine, salt, and random spices.
Also on the YouTube channel?
Yeah, why not?
I love you. You're just brimming with ideas, Robert.
I have a folder I have like a folder in my notes app on my phone being like, here are all the ideas I have.
See, you're the person who needs a YouTube channel. This is great. You have ideas, you're ready to make content, and I'm ready to consume it.
Thank you so much.
Yay.
Oh my god, Mike Schubert is on the most recent episode at the time of recording.
Mike Schubert,
Yeah.
we know him.
We do, yeah.
Carter, where did we last leave off in chapter 36?
In chapter 36, we left off having vanquished Pete, the fanatically religious, intolerant, frightening ghost child.
Racist
of
cop
Hecate.
ghost.
Yeah, we vanquished him. We've completed all of our quest objectives and also threw a Halloween party to cap everything off with all the friends from camp.
What was her
That's
name?
basically
Valentina?
Valentina Diaz.
Did I make that up because of the say hi, Valentina, ally?
No. It's definitely her name is Valentina. Yeah.
Okay, yeah. She rocks. We got to meet her.
Valentina, who dressed up as Coco Chanel for Halloween because she's scary and problematic and fashionable.
A terrifying. And now Hecate is gonna return a little too early. Chapter 37, I Play with Purple Fire. I didn't at first understand what this chapter title meant until I realized it's about standing up to a goddess and asking for things, which is funny because Percy has done this many times.
Literally.
But we established that Hecate is like particularly scary to him.
Can you imagine Hecate being in the room when Percy's like, I don't want immortality. I want you to pay your child support.
I think she would be down for that. It's these different asks, you know?
Mm.
Well, Hecate returns at 23 a.m., very early morning, portaling in from Grand Central Station. Annabeth is immediately prepared to greet her with a bow. Percy trips over a sleeping bag. Grover screams, jumps. Classic. We have our rule of 3 characterization. And we're given a delightful description of what Hecate is presenting as she returns, which is, I would say, full Halloween drag. There is blood or wine on the outfit. She has full 3 head modes, but each of the 3 heads is adorned in some version of either a Halloween costume or I would say, classic hallmark of Halloween celebrations that is not necessarily a costume. Like, there's a mention of her having a trick-or-treaters jack-o'-lantern like box bucket thing full of candy hanging from one of her hands. She's wearing a Richard Nixon mask on one of her 3 heads.
I do love that it takes Percy a second to be like, that's some old politician. Give me a second. Because it's painting the picture. It's like 5:30 in the morning. Give me a second. Richard Nixon. Yeah, that guy.
I don't know that I want Percy on my trivia team, but he did get there eventually.
He did. Yeah. Many people would not.
I feel like that's exactly the kind of person you want on a trivia team. The person who doesn't know it right away, but like just before the buzzer goes off, they're like, oh, it's Richard Nixon.
I don't
No,
know.
I think I want the
that's a
person who knows it right
it's
away.
A pretty well-known reference.
Live a little. Have some drama in your trivia night.
The drama is when they ask a sports question and nobody can answer it. That's the drama.
The real drama is the fact that we have Pop Culture Jeopardy now, and somebody decided that sports have to be one of the categories.
So Carter and I can't enter until we become friends with someone who knows a lot about sports. When's that going to happen?
Boo. Boo. If you were going to make gay Jeopardy, you should have made it real gay Jeopardy.
It's only pop culture and questions about Survivor.
Anyway, yeah, so Hecate's made her grand costumed re-entrance and pretty quickly is able to deduce that there was a Halloween party that was thrown here. She's like finding pieces of trash behind the couch cushions, but is cool with that.
Because she's a cool mom.
She is a cool mom. It's like, that's in the spirit of the event. You need to honor me by throwing a Halloween party because all Halloween parties are in fact honoring me.
Yes.
Did anyone feel that this was an effective fake out? Do we think it was supposed to be an effective fake out?
That we were supposed to be scared that she was going to be upset about the party?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't think
thought
I
it
was
funny.
scared.
Oh.
Okay. I mean, I enjoyed her reaction, even if I didn't find it that surprising, I guess.
I called this way back before the book came out. Becky had posted something on Threads, some article link, and I'm like, oh, this is going to be like that old 80s trope where the kids throw a party and they think they clean everything up, and then the mom comes home and she's like, wait a minute, was that curtain always there? Or something akin to that. I mean, I was close at least. They do get quote unquote caught. Who the hell drinks Diet Orange Sunkist. I don't know. I feel like out of all the diet sodas, that's probably the worst. Should we ask Becky and Rick what sodas they drink?
I guess this is Connor, right? He
Yeah,
says this
Connor
reeks of
drinks.
Connor. Connor is a bit of a twerp, no?
Yeah,
Also,
I
don't
think
forget
I
the whole
understand the
Connabeth.
characterization work that's happening there.
Don't forget about Connabeth, too. Like, Percy probably is subconsciously being like, yeah, that idiot who drinks Diet Orange Sunkist soda, not fit for my girlfriend. I don't think so, buddy. You see the vision?
I do enjoy the line where Hecate is like, but seriously, plastic containers aren't good for the earth. You should use celestial bronze or ceramic. Anytime the drama or the plot in general stops for a like, hey kids, take care of the earth kind of message, I'm always reminded of the scene in Big Hero 6, the car chase, where Hero almost falls out of the car and Baymax grabs him and he's like, remember to wear your seatbelt. Seatbelts save lives.
If you have a platform, you got to use it, right?
Exactly.
Hecate totally doesn't mind about the party. She has a fun time meeting Nope, who it calls her third mom, which we know that's referencing like Hecuba and Annabeth, but instead she's like, oh, he means to say triple mother. That was funny to me. And then she gives Percy a rec letter. And the build up to this was very funny to me as well, because Percy thinks, oh, it's not going to be as bad as Ganymede. Like, she actually wrote a letter. That's great. Like, I'm not going to have to write my own this time, like in the last book. And then she gives him the letter and it says something along the lines of, to whom it may concern, I recommend Percy Jackson 4 things.
Yes.
And then the signature is longer than the letter.
Sincerely, the goddess of 3 forms, lady of witchcraft, queen of the darkness, keeper of mysteries, ultimate power over ghosts and spirits, almighty sovereign of the shadows.
Yes, because that works. Because if you think about all of those things that she is, and if you are thinking about her power at the end of that letter, then I recommend Percy Jackson for things is all you have to say.
Yeah.
I think there are different schools of thought about this. I personally am of the important thing about a rec letter is that it is personalized and actually says meaningful, specific things about you rather than it's written by somebody of immense and awe-inspiring power. But it sounds like in the universe of the books, my theory is not actually applicable or relevant.
Did you ever read the rec letters that were written for us, like many years later, from our high school recommendation writers, who everyone will know by now, lore-wise? Carter and I had the same 2 people write our college rec letters.
I read one of them because I needed to submit it myself for a competition or a fellowship or something very shortly after or around the time that we applied to college. So I have it. I have a copy of it somewhere. It was very nice.
I wish I had a copy. I feel like that would be a helpful therapy tool to kind of go back and read something that someone I respect very much said about me at an age in which I did not respect myself, you know?
Right.
I feel like Dare probably has. I feel like they're probably around. Okay. Sidebar. We have the record from Hecate. It's funny. But we're not done with this interaction because the whole journey of this book is figuring out that the actual quest is not a real quest. We have a greater, deeper, more just and meaningful purpose. And that is not leaving until we also have a conversation about Gale and Hecuba and about the magic school.
I put a little quick thing in about the ethics and philosophy of telling the truth, because I took an ethics course in sophomore year of college and I made that my personality to some extent.
Period.
So the line in question, when he received the letter and he looks at everyone around, he says, then it occurred to me that whether Hecate knew it or not, she was offering me another crossroad, a temptation just as dangerous as the strawberry milkshake. It would be too easy to leave now with my recommendation letter. It would be 100% safer. It would also be wrong. So, hey, really quick crash course on the ethics of lying. Pretty much everyone says it's not good. Kant believed that lying is wrong. St. Augustine believed that the true sin of lying, lying is bad, but that the true sin was contained in the desire to deceive. And Aquinas believed that lying to cause harm was a mortal sin. So now we need to look at, especially the way Percy ends that sentence, it would be 100% safer. It would also be wrong. We need to think about his current choice or his crossroad. So right now he's applying the teachings of consequentialism. So he's right now quickly going through in his brain, yeah, I could leave, or I could tell Hecate. And if I told Hecate, one of many things could happen. He could lose his letter. He could lose his life or his friends' lives. Gale and Hecuba might also just not get what they want out of this. He tells Hecate the truth. He goes through what happened. He tells her the whole story. And she's like, well, why would you confess this? Why should I not incinerate you? Uh-oh, potential consequence. She'll kill me. But then he tells her the truth, and the reason he does it is because, yeah, you could incinerate me, but hey, the truth is we didn't take care of Hecuba and Gale. They took care of us. We did destroy your house, but also we were built upon its foundations. We fixed a lot of problems. We did what was good or virtuous. Hey, the study of virtue ethics. He knows that in the end, it is the right thing to do to tell Hecate this entire story so that she can, A, give Gale and Hecuba more, not rights, what's the word? Privileges, I guess?
Freedoms.
And B, the ultimate goal is to reopen the magic school so that the ghosts and the structures and everything of Hecate's house will be properly fixed 100% instead of the like patch job Percy, Annabeth, and Grover did.
Yeah. He really has to tell the truth for the sake of Gale and Hecuba.
It is the virtuous thing to do. He is a good person. He is like the protagonist. He has to tell the truth.
I highly feel like all of these different like European philosophical traditions are not actually in conflict here about what he should do, though. Like, I don't think there's deviation between a consequentialist or like deontologic understanding of this choice, because he's like constrained. He's like pre-committed to do this, and if he doesn't do it, then like I don't think he can actually walk away successfully and go to college without suffering ramifications of this problem.
Emotionally.
I mean, I feel like, yeah, emotionally, sure. Because Hecuba and Gale are sort of looking at him with eyes of like, dude, you promised to. But also, there is, other than that, there is really no consequence. Hecate fully believes that nothing went wrong, and I guess Gale and Hecuba would not tell her.
Depends on what you weigh the consequence of his conscience as.
Yeah.
If you think that he's going to walk away from the situation lying and then feeling bad about it, then telling the truth is ultimately selfish anyway.
I do think you're right fundamentally, though, that Percy is like, in the sum total of our experiences with him, is probably like a virtue ethicist.
Yeah, 100%. And Annabeth, utilitarian.
Yeah, down.
Yeah, utilitarian down. So like if there was a circumstance, this is interesting to think about. If there was a circumstance in which lying would be better for everybody, I think Annabeth would not hesitate to lie. And I think Percy would hesitate to lie still.
Wait, I don't think so. I'm not co-signing that. I think it's like I think the dividing line is somewhere else about like Percy would not corrupt his soul for something. But like, I don't think he like, I can't imagine him like drawing a firm line about lying, because he has lied a bunch.
I'm thinking about sending Medusa's head straight to Olympus.
I
don't think that boy can keep a secret to save his life. I think he's a yapper. I think he has to tell the truth.
I think that's a virtue. Like, it's not a like classical virtue ethics thing, but it's like, I'm going to be an upright person. I'm going to do this thing for myself. But it's not like a deontologic guideline that says like, when faced with a choice to mail Medusa's head to an evil being of more power than you must do it.
I don't know. I still think Annabeth it would be much quicker to lie than Percy, if it's going to make everything easier.
And technically, she did by keeping the prophecy from him up until he read it himself. Although technically
lying.
She did spill the beans a little bit about it in Sea of Monsters, but you know, neither here nor there.
Anyway, so Percy decides that he is going to come forward, present all of these recommendations to Hecate about how she should treat Gale and Hecuba differently, and how she should, in general, comport herself in a more sustainable fashion, which is to say, to reopen the magic school. There's a really interesting line towards the end of that section where Percy says, I think on some level you meant for it to happen. We got the pets back, but now we understand what they need. We repaired the mansion, but its foundation has been cracking for over a century.
I like that. Percy kind of read her for filth there. Like, you only hired us because you wanted to open this magic school back up.
This is what you wanted. This is what you needed. I'm saying this for you.
You wanted Eudora back in your life. Don't act like you didn't.
Ooh, wake that up. Okay.
Percy does kind of just like walk around hanging out with the Olympians and doing therapy for them because he's so empathetic. He's like, let me do one task for you and then read you for filth, because I understand through like dealing with your shit what it is that you need.
What you actually want, what you were subconsciously reaching for by annoying me. Yeah.
That just explains why in Trials of Apollo, like whoever the next god he deals with is going to burn him out so badly. By the time Apollo shows up, he's like, what do you want?
Yeah.
I do also like, just hear me out. We owed it to you to make it worthy of you and your family. Consider it a request, not a demand. Because Hecate is getting mad. She's like, are you demanding things of me? And he's like, no, it's not a demand. It's a request for the love of your house and your family. And Hecate, I think a lot of gods tell this to Percy where they're like, "Hey, you surprised me, Percy Jackson. That does not happen often." Happens pretty often with Percy. They all think of him one way,
But the gods all think that they're special.
I guess.
Yeah, I do think this is right. That Hecate is this is the last we're gonna see of her in this book, which is like appropriate because there's only 2 chapters left, but also we haven't actually been able to talk to her that much. It's kind of a shame.
Yeah, this is the last we see of her, but she was iconic. I wish we had more of her. That's maybe my one like desire for this book was to have more Hecate, but in the future, perhaps in the Hazel book that we are manifesting.
In the Hazel book that we're manifesting, in many things. What a phenomenal visual opportunity we had to experience many different iterations of her in this book, despite not seeing her that much.
And we're gonna get the Estelle Jackson Magic School New York Preparatory book series spinoff, and we'll see her then.
Perhaps. I don't know. People I don't think are actually looking to read any books about magic schools, but maybe.
But this one's fun and different because it's not just humans who are allowed to attend.
That's true. This one will not have a restrictive admissions policy.
Exactly. Let's take a quick break and then we'll be back for chapter 38.
This episode is brought to you by MeUndies. While MeUndies can't totally help your love life this Valentine's Day, they can offer you insanely comfy undies and loungewear to buy or gift. MeUndies has so many awesome Valentine's Day prints and styles. Plus, you can match with your partner, friends, or even your pets. This Valentine's Day, give the gift that'll keep them thinking of you and score huge site-wide savings at MeUndies.com/Spotify. That's MeUndies.com/Spotify. MeUndies. Comfort from the outside in.
Chapter 38, I accidentally liquefy my guidance counselor. Hecate Eudora truthers, we're back. Let's wake that up, okay? Let's wake that up for this chapter.
Dora.
Okay, I'm waking it up. I know we had this conversation a few episodes ago about the difference in power, the imbalance there that would potentially make this like ship non-sailable. But I want to push it back against that. I want us to imagine a world in which they are equals, in this new school, because it's clear, it is clear that Percy is picking up on it in this chapter. Eudora is down atrocious.
Oh, I mean, okay, that is incontrovertible. Like, Eudora is obsessed with her. Eudora is tripping over herself, liquefying herself at the thought of being able to hang with Hecate again.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Like, I was both happy for her and moved by the, real emotional truth that she's achieving here, but also I'll say it, I was a little embarrassed for her. I was like, girl,
Carter, not you being embarrassed for somebody fangirling.
Not me coming for the real yearners or anything, but I was a little bit like, Eudora,
There's yearning, and then there's, oh, hey, did she give you the recommendation letter? Oh, yeah, here it is. And then
then there's turning into a puddle. There's like being unable to complete reading a 2-paragraph long letter in several minutes.
She's reading it fondly. Let her.
I'm not telling her not to do anything. I just feel like if I had been in the room with her, I would have been a little mortified internally by like her inability to, stand up and get up off the floor. But that's not to say that I would have stopped her. I understand the emotional place that she's in. And I'm excited for the next part of her journey, where she is able to, in fact, reconnect.
This also is bringing up how messy it is, because Hecate did bring up Eudora a bunch while Percy and the gang were hanging out at her house, hatching out the plans. And Hecate was cursing up a storm talking about Eudora. So, I mean...
And it also wasn't salient enough for Percy to, talk about that much in his original narration. This is what I'm saying about the power imbalance. I don't know if they're endgame for me. Would I like to read the story about it anyway? Yes. Yes, I would.
I would like to read the story about it. It doesn't have to be endgame. Maybe it's a story in which Eudora is really into Hecate and they try it out, and then Eudora finds a deeper sense of self-confidence by realizing that Hecate isn't going to be enough for her, and that the obsession and the yearning that she had all along was just for a really great career, and she can separate those two things.
It's not just for a great career. I do think she has the two things confused, and she's able to, at the end, achieve her career thing. And I want to end that story of Eudora and Hecate with Eudora going on one single first date with someone who is very promising. And also a woman who is kind of a scary girl boss, but is not her professional non-equal.
Yeah.
That's what also, I'm seeing for Eudora.
Book recommendation. A lot of you have already probably heard of Esther Yee's Y/N Your Name, really awesome book about similar ideas of what it is like to horrifically yearn for the idea of someone who happens to be significantly more famous than you are. Absolutely terrifying, very upsetting book about profound loneliness that we experience. Check it out. Esther Yee can co-write the book about Eudora and Hecate, maybe. Anyway, Percy, great Barbie shout out. My job was Ocean. You guys caught that, right?
Definitely, especially since Barbie came out in 2023, July, and Wrath of the Triple Goddess didn't come out till September. Like, this was definitely still at a respectable timeline where Rick could be putting in the final drafts for this book. So, I mean,
there's a mention of Texas Hold'em, which postdates Barbie by like 9 months.
And also take this statement however you will. I think Percy really loved the Barbie movie.
Percy definitely really loved the Barbie movie and owned and still owns, and I'm Just Ken, rainbow hoodie, whatever type of situation
There's
people were wearing.
There's a 100% chance he dressed up as Ken for Halloween.
Except not this Halloween.
No, not this one.
Yeah. But also the second the SNL parody, I'm Just Pete, came out, he sings that more than he sings I'm Just Ken.
That's true. You're right. He thinks I'm Just Pete is even better than I'm Just Ken. Thank you for that, Robert. You're right. I want to shout out the Eudora physical comedy of like splooting into like little water puddles whenever she's like freaking out or excited. There are so many things that came to mind. I couldn't like find the exact visual, but the guy who sploots in Sky High, that character, who like goes into a puddle, the little pink gloopy thing from Treasure Planet. Do you guys have other splooty animated characters that come to mind?
Nope, none in my brain right now.
I don't. This is kind of a reach. Did anyone read The Extraordinary Adventures of Ordinary Boy, a children's book about the one non-super person in a superhero town?
No.
I enjoyed this book series quite a lot, and the best friend of the titular Ordinary Boy also had the same power, and also had like similar hair to the gerbil girl in Sky High. Mixing references here a little bit, but anyway, this is a thing. It's well executed. She also Percy makes a comment about her forgetting her boundaries for a moment and twirling him around, like lifting him into the air, twirling him around in a circle out of excitement when she finds out about the magic school, which is also like down terrible behavior. And also, whoa, you are at work, girl. Percy doesn't know you that well. Like, this is what I mean. Like, she's a real yearner, but also like, you're in mixed company, like, please, this is a lot for you to be doing in front of your student / counselee, but she's having a good moment. We're happy for her.
I also just want to point out how inaccurate it is for her to be like, oh my gosh, thank you for, by the way, the reason she like hugged him is because she's quote unquote getting her job back as the admissions director for Hecate's magic school. And in like her gratitude, she wants to express, she's like, I'll get you into all the colleges. And Percy's like, no, just New Room. That'll be great. Percy, you should put more than one college on your application for safety. That's what they told me a bunch when I was applying for colleges. B, I did not have, and nor do I know anyone personally who had a college advisor who was like, I'm going to get you into all the schools possible. You'll do great things. My college advisor straight up sat me down and was like, maybe you should go to community college. I don't know.
That's what I mean. Like, Eudora is not being professional in this moment, and I get that there's a lot going on for her. But yeah, she's not. She's not
being professional. No, it's true. But also, she's not a college guidance counselor at heart. She's like a principal. Those are different jobs.
I don't know. Like, if she would need to keep it together and not have these types of interactions with students when she's working at the magic school, as she is going to do soon. No, she has time to work on it, I guess.
She has personal and professional growth to get to. That's okay.
It is okay. Yeah. Anyway, that wraps up that conversation. We're going home. We're off to see Sally.
At the Cracked Teapot.
The Cracked Teapot, not the Chipped Cup.
And this to me is
Wait, I'm getting them confused again.
It's the Cracked Teapot in the book. It's the Chipped Cup in real life.
Okay, thank you.
This chapter and the following chapter have two like great like sort of thesis conversations. And the one in this chapter is Sally telling Percy, I am happy with my choices, period.
Honestly, to me, probably the most important line in the book.
Yes.
I like two things about it. I like how very straightforward it is. It's not the main idea of what she's trying to tell Percy. She just says it quickly. I am happy with my choices, back to what I was telling you. But it's also literally, I think, the main conclusion to be drawn about the whole choose your crossroads and what have you that the book's trying to tell you, you must be happy with your choices.
Yeah.
There's so much that this book has been doing and circling around choices and crossroads and the nuclear family setup of Percy, Annabeth, and Grover, and this point that they're at where they're about to leave each other and not like emotionally overreacting to that and being okay with letting things go. And like, it's all in the same circle, but the circle's kind of big for all the different things that are happening. So I think it was nice that we had this wrap up statement, I'm happy with my choices, to sort of tie a bow on the idea of regrets and ghosts that we were dealing with on the Hecate side of things. And then in the next chapter to have more of a reflection on like leaving your community and this idea of crossroads as far as like what it means to separate from your people and that nuclear family dynamic. Because they're not quite the same thing. So we needed these two different final conversations about them.
Yeah, I agree. I did want to hear from Sally again to close the loop.
Yeah.
Yeah. I do find it a little funny how Percy's like, oh, hey, Mom, what's wrong? You have writer's block? She's like, no, I have writer's back. Mood.
Get that woman to a massage. Go fund me for Sally to go get a massage. And we're going to have dinner at the Jackson Blowfist apartment. And we're inviting Juniper because plants ride free on the Long Island Railroad.
Great line.
Yeah. And then we're in chapter 39. I found this chapter to be hilarious because we like took a pivot away from the ghosts and the choices and the Halloween to do a little final like metaphor pivot or like framing pivot to plant metaphors to finish off this book, which I was not anticipating, but I don't reject. I love Juniper being there as an excuse to tie this book up with a plant metaphor. It was just surprising to me because we were just on ghosts, you know?
I didn't really pick up on anything because I was just trying to like get through the last chapter.
This is a classic Riordan last chapter in which, everything's died down. We're having some reflection. We're having like, after the big intensity of whatever went down in the final battle, it's just an intimate sort of family moment, a quiet night. The little things are what matters kind of experience. And there's a lot of dryad discourse in this chapter because Juniper's here. She brings like a little clipping and everyone's like, oh, can we plant this? Can we not plant this? They bring an orchid and Percy's like, does the orchid have a name? Doesn't have a name. And then Percy's like, oh my God, can Juniper eat salad? Is that cannibalism? Pudge can't eat tuna, he's a fish! That kind of thing. I found all of this to be hilarious.
Which Percy also does comment on. Percy also is like, these are the fish that I'm okay with eating. And these are the fish I'm not okay with eating. He's like, I can't eat an octopus.
Percy and me, we're on the same wavelength about that. Only the dumb fish.
Not the smart ones. Dude, if you ever need an animal to help you with your physics homework, you just gotta talk to a manta ray.
I read that one in Walker's voice. I actually did. And then we continue on this plant. We're thinking about plants because of Juniper. And we say the second sort of final wrap-up sentence, which is thinking about leaving Percy and Annabeth. And Grover's like, even though you're going to go far away, no matter where you go, your roots are where you're planted. Did that feel satisfying to you guys?
Yeah.
It's akin to like, home is where the heart is kind of vibes.
I did not find it to be like a stunning metaphor, but like I thought it was appropriate, resonant enough, and does speak to the themes and, emotional issues that we've been thinking about throughout the book. I was fine with it.
I'm going to read the very last paragraph, or I'm going to read this whole section that this comes out of on page 321. We'll be here to help you, Grover promised, even if it means that you two have to leave for California afterward. Hey now, said Juniper, squeezing Grover's wrist. I told you don't worry about that, because no matter where you go, your roots are where you're planted. And this right here, she gestured around the table, these are Percy's and Annabeth's roots. That stopped us. Sometimes the greatest wisdom comes from a juniper bush. Of course, Grover said, and my girlfriend's roots are literally right here. He nudged the juniper clipping she had brought. We all laughed, but Juniper was right. Looking around the table, I knew I was where I belonged, and even if we moved across the country, Annabeth and I would always have a home here. We wouldn't be leaving anything behind, we'd just be spreading out our branches. Well, I said, in that case, what's for dessert? How about this? Annabeth kissed me, which was better than any dessert and a whole lot better than candy corn. I'm looking at my copy of my book now and seeing I wrote the wild robot with 3 hearts at the top of this last page.
Just the idea of having roots and being planted somewhere?
No, the idea of when you go somewhere else, you aren't leaving your home, you're just spreading out your branches. Did you even see the wild robot, Carter?
Yeah, I did see the wild robot.
Don't you get
Actually, I'm a DreamWorks viewer.
Robert, did you see the wild robot?
I unfortunately did not, but I'm going to put that on my list.
It is a movie in which you have to accept that part of parenting is letting your children go away from you.
Yes, very much the case.
Just like Grover is experiencing. Part of parenting is letting your children go away from you. I think that's another interesting layer onto the nuclear family dynamic, that Grover was Percy's protector and Annabeth's protector.
Yeah.
They are like...
And that he's like been on Earth for many more years than them.
Yeah, and that they are now... Even though they kind of act as mom and dad in this book, he is the one who has to like watch his kids go off to college.
Yeah.
All this to say, I love the final plant metaphor. I kind of wonder why it wasn't a witchier metaphor at the end, but I'll take it.
What would the witchier metaphor have been, do you think, for maintaining connection in one place while going to other places?
I don't know. I have no idea. Teleportation, transmutation circles.
I mean, in a classical Grecian sense, plants are witchy.
Ah, see, I like that. That's what I'll take. That's what I'll take. That, like, the dirt under the fingernails, the craft, the herbs.
Yeah, Cersei doesn't teleport, but she does, have a garden.
I'll take it. Thank you, Carter. Thank you for making that work for me.
In which Carter continues to be the smartest person I know.
So that's the end of the book. Like we said, there's so many themes here. I want to hear about final thoughts and reflections. Did everything feel tied up for you? Did it feel like the idea of this ghost problem of regrets and a cracked foundation resolve properly for you at the end? And does the idea of the ghost problem connect strongly to you with the idea of this crossroads and the spreading out of your branches?
I think mostly yes. I think a lot of the different ideas and life experiences that the book is commenting on do go together, with the kind of exception of I think it's more of a rage to try to loop in all the Pete stuff, which was interesting and Halloween-y and on theme in other ways, but I think I could imagine making an argument about inflexibility and rigidity and a relationship to change that he is there to comment on, but I don't think that commentary was like super woven into the core like fabric of thoughts, issues, personal journeys that everyone else is going through in this book. And that's okay.
Is it too broad for me to say that like the crossroads is what connects these two sides of the story? That we're at a crossroads, and that involves looking back at the choices we've made and looking forward at what's to come. And so looking forward is more the Percy Annabeth Grover storyline of how are we going to move forward in our friendship, and how are we going to remain close, and what is that dynamic going to look like moving forward. And the looking back at that crossroads is more Sally and Hecate, and how are we going to either make peace with our choices or find a better way to go forward.
Right.
And then Pete, the other ghosts, are giving you, this is backwards, you're refusing to make the choice. Yeah, okay.
We've solved it. We've pieced it together.
Any other thoughts?
My final thought is that, you know what? Comparing it to Chalice of the Gods, I like this one a little more than Chalice.
Say more.
I think really for me, both the writing of both of the books feels more modernized, with Rick thinking about Walker, Leia, and Arian. So it doesn't exactly feel the same as the old Percy Jackson books, but I think what I really like from both of the stories is the main lesson that we derive from each, which the first one is, embrace old age. And this one, I think the main one is make good choices and be happy with the choices you make to really simplify it. And I think if I'm comparing just based off of the lessons, I like make good choices and be proud of the choices you make more than embrace old age. Because the older I'm getting, I'm not liking embracing it.
You got writer's back, Robert?
Robert said, I heard the message of the last book and it's wrong.
You got video essay back.
Yeah. Oh, God. Yes, I do.
I think it's make good choices, be happy with the choices you've made, and if you're not happy with the choices you've made, you can still go back and make better ones.
Yeah. And maybe a little bit of don't hold on to your regrets thrown in
And
there.
also, don't wake colonizers from the grave.
Also that.
Oh, yeah.
Part D.
Yeah.
So we've had now embrace old age. We've had make good choices. Be happy with the choices you've made. What is the next senior year adventures book going to be? Who's the god we're going to encounter? What's the lesson we have to learn before we go to New Rome?
I really, and this is just because there's no addressing it in the books, really, beyond casual references. I really think there needs to be, the next book should be something about love or self-love or mental health. So get Aphrodite, get Dionysus, get whoever, because they have undergone so much trauma that they have not dealt with, that I think that is something pivotal to talk about and to deal with, and to be like, hey, in order to move on properly from, you know, childhood into adulthood or into your new future or into whatever you got to do, you also need to take care of yourself.
That's interesting. I think that is a good thing that you should get as an 18-year-old. My guess is that it's going to be Ladybird core. Life is not ahead of you. Life is present tense. Pay attention to what's happening right now as like the third message to kind of round out the triptych.
The god of noticing.
Yeah, that's the thing. Okay, I don't have a strong idea of who that would be at the moment. But like, okay, they have also all been like minor gods, like not classical high Big 12 Olympians. I guess I don't know who that would be. Time? We already had youth. Yeah. Anyway.
Interesting.
Yeah, that's why I feel like mine, I think, is a strong enough theory because it doesn't particularly have to do with any of the other two things we've learned about. I guess arguably you could tie that into don't hold on to the regrets of your past and like, you know, learn to let them go or whatever. I guess arguably that could be some talk of mental health, but no, I need Percy and Annabeth especially, who went through Tartarus and apparently like never sought Percy and Annabeth went through Tartarus, mind you, in this timeline like 4 months ago. And they apparently never got any help for it, from what I can tell. They're just raw dogging their emotions right now.
I love the idea of a mental health book as the final journey. I also love the idea of Dionysus being the god and having to like teach them about mental health and being like, lots of freshmen in college turn to partying and drinking because they're not addressing their mental health problems. But I also feel like no book can do the mental health journey better than The Sun and the Star did it for Nico.
Oh yeah.
But it'd be interesting to see another attack on it. I also like the idea of noticing. I also though really like the idea of Aphrodite. Just Aphrodite coming back. And us getting a little bit more of a fleshed out version of her as she has changed and like the attributes of her godly children have changed so much since she was first introduced.
It could be interesting. I don't know if I see it for us. Like, I don't feel like Rick is going to go down that path.
We have to do another minor god.
It could be the Fates. That could be appropriate for...
Oh, that's actually cool.
The Fates. Writing a rec letter is cool.
Oh, you know, it'd be funny if Ares, showed up, he's like, listen, punk, I'll write your letter. You need to do something for me. And that somehow we develop a lesson from that.
Mm-hmm.
It could be Eris, who's like, like one of the bigger minor gods who we haven't met yet. And it could be a similar idea of like senior years about drama. Discord.
Conflict. Toxic masculinity. Okay, if we're opening up to the Fates writing a rec letter, maybe the Grey Sisters come back. Hear me out. The Grey Sisters come back to write a rec letter with one eyeball.
They're like not gods though.
But they can
like,
still
I would love for them to be back, but...
And the lesson is about like embracing the absurdity of your life. Like we go full Camus.
Waiting for Godot. Yeah.
Full Camus, leader of the absurd, in the vein of noticing and the present moment. Everything is absurd and you're going into adulthood and nothing actually matters and you just have to decide who your two elderly hags are that you want to spend the rest of your life with.
It could be like Morpheus, Maine, and like the Grey Sisters also show up and the whole thing is just like a fever dream where reality disappears and you have to just realize what's important to you.
I was going to go like, Morpheus, hey, Percy, here's a lesson you have to learn. Remember to get enough sleep in college. Here's a letter.
That too. I feel like Percy would love Camus. At this point, with all the nasty stuff he's been through and the absurdity of his life.
Does he need Camus?
Well, that's what I'm saying. Like, I think he intrinsically understands it.
Yeah.
He's already adopted an absurdity perspective. He's decided what's important to him. I think that's it. I think we're done. I think that's the end of the Wrath of the Triple Goddess.
It's the end.
Anything else for the end of this crossroads? We're making it out of the crossroads.
The one thing that I really want for the next book is we need more Hana.
Oh, absolutely.
You don't
I
want
need
more
to see how
Dave.
that queen is doing. Dave, I'll see if I see you. Hana?
Dave can maybe be too busy with his architect homework.
Dave can be too busy catching up on his schoolwork because he's clearly not at the same level as Hana and Annabeth.
No child left behind. Jeez, Carter.
Speak your truth.
All right. Everyone, thank you for joining us for this extended coverage of the Wrath of the Triple Goddess. We are so happy to have you here. We are debating what is going to come next before we drop in for Sea of Monsters / The Odyssey adaptation coverage to prepare for season 2. But I'm pretty sure we're going to finish the Red Pyramid before we do anything else. So we will see you guys there. Robert, promote your YouTube channel one more time and tell people where they can find you on the internet.
I do things on the internet. My name is Robert. I do the Damien page, which started off as a Twitter, but I deleted Twitter, thank God. And now it's an Instagram that posts photos, memes for the podcasts that do Percy Jackson coverage. I have since started going slowly onto YouTube. I have a series talking about the show right now. I have a series talking about the lack of merch. I have more video ideas in the future. But also on the internet, I have a podcast with our friend Charlie. We talk about Steven Universe. It's called The Bits. It updates every Friday. It's a recap and analysis podcast to celebrate 10 years of Steven Universe. I also did quickly have the thought of Nope being like, oh, my third mom being like, oh, so Nope's just Steven Universe with his 3 moms. Got it. And those are all the things I do on the internet. The Damien page, Damn spelled D-A-M, wherever you can find me on the internet. It's mainly, let's see, it's YouTube, Threads, Blue Sky, TikTok, however long that's still up, and Instagram.
Okay, go find Robert, watch some videos, and we'll see y'all next time. Bye.
Bye, all.